All right, everybody, just letting the audience pile in. Just waiting to get started here, letting everybody get a chance to get settled. Good stuff on the show today. Going to be probably a fairly quick one. There's good stuff. There's just not a lot of it. Going to be talking about injuries. That's going to be the main topic, of course, are the injuries, which are really starting to add up for some teams. There we go. All right, it looks like we're all good. Minnesota fans, lots for you on the show today. Anaheim, you guys can't be possibly happy, but you'll get a little bit of the show off the start here. And we're going to be talking about the New York Islanders on the program today because I think poor Doug Waite is about to go down a bad road, a road that he doesn't want to go down. And I am definitely concerned for my man, Dougie Waite. Lots of concern for him. There always is with young coaches, though. That's always the case. All right, everybody settle in. We're going to get started. Everything works better when the microphone is on. Welcome to another episode of the Hockey Talk Show, second consecutive show going live, which is a big accomplishment for us. This, again, was an idea on a napkin just a few short months ago, and now here we are coming to you live, hopefully building a hockey community that we can all be a part of one day, that we could all enjoy and come and commiserate upon. Number is live as well, 631-438-1768. That's the number to get in touch with the Hockey Talk Show. 631-438-1768, live on Facebook and YouTube this evening. It's about 5:25 Eastern Time. And, of course, we're on podcast as well. The TuneIn radio app. We're on the Stitcher, the iTunes, and Podbean as well. So if you want to get in on the show, or if you're late to the show, I should say, you can certainly watch us or listen to us via podcast. HockeyTalkShow.com has all this information laid out for you here. And, we had a fun little colorful show yesterday with some great callers. And the phones are buzzing again right off the bat. We will get to the calls, I promise. I'll take your prank calls and your serious hockey calls. It's all good for me. A couple things to get into on the show today. I was talking about this on the before we got started here officially. We've got a good mix. Am I a little hot there on the volume? Let me take this down a notch. Perhaps that's better. We've got a good mix of the show today. We're looking at Minnesota. We're looking at Anaheim. We are looking at. See, I suckered my wife into monitoring the show. Let me know if that's a little bit better. Might have been just a little hot there a second ago. We're going to talk Anaheim. We're going to talk Minnesota. We're going to talk about the New York Islanders. I was going through our statistics for the Hockey Talk Show, which, by the way, you're going to want to follow us on Facebook and definitely subscribe on YouTube and hit that bell notification. We got a fair amount of Long Islanders there, which is pretty interesting. If you're just getting to know me, which of course you should be, we just started like 3 weeks ago. Well, I do a radio show here on Long Island, so that's where we're based out of. The number is a 631 number. That's a Long Island exchange. I was pretty surprised to see all the Long Island people that were tuning in. I was really surprised to see some of that. I thought that was pretty cool. All right, let me know. I'm just trying to adjust some things here as we deal with some sound issues. Let me know if that's any better. If you guys are hearing a bit of static, you let me know on Facebook or YouTube. Twitter works at Hockey Talk Show. And, of course, the phone number as well, 631-438-1768. Other thing I learned when we're streaming, too, is we're on quite a bit of a delay here. So what we're saying now was probably said like 10 seconds ago. Maybe we'll just go right into the phones here since we have some eager callers. All right, area code 551. You're on the Hockey Talk Show. Who am I talking to?
This is Africanisha.
Yeah, what do you want to talk about?
I was just wondering.
All right, wait. Before we get into the one, do you have good stuff today at least?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to let you do your thing, but you have to tell me a little bit more info. Okay?
I was just wondering if you ever caught your parents having sex.
Hang on. Where's 551? Where's 551? Where are you from?
Africa.
You're from?
That's why my name is Africanisha.
Don't make me Google it, man. Come on, where are you from?
New York.
You're not from New York. 551 is not a New York area code.
All right. I'm from New Zealand.
You're from Bayonne, New Jersey.
Yeah.
All right, God, now I feel bad. Now I feel bad for you. Anybody who lives in Bayonne, New Jersey, I have to feel bad for. Go ahead.
All right. Fuck you. I'm not from Patterson. I mean, all right. I was just wondering if you ever caught your parents having sex. Why are you laughing at that?
Because you got upset about the Bayonne, New Jersey thing. I get it. It's embarrassing.
So I was just wondering if you've ever caught your parents having sex.
No, I didn't.
Are you sure? So do you wink?
Yeah, buddy. I don't think that's something that you forget.
Do you wink?
I think that sticks with you.
What about your grandparents?
No, I never caught them either. All right, I gotta run because I fear that you're very young. So I don't know why you're.
By the way, this is John from yesterday.
This is
Remember me?
John from yesterday. Yes.
Yeah.
You got a whole crew there with you, bud? All right. My favorite part is how upset he got that I labeled him from Bayonne, New Jersey. He's like, I'm from Patterson. Like it matters. It's the worst friggin' part of Jersey. All right, did the sound get any better at least? I hope so. I think so. All right, we'll move on. It's an internet show. Let's talk about injuries. They're starting to spread around like wildfire, definitely starting to affect a lot of teams. And let's get into the Anaheim Ducks. Getzlaf, Anaheim's captain, 7 points, 1 goal, 6 assists in 6 games. He hasn't played since October 29th, and they're now officially throwing him on the injured reserve list here. He's going to have surgery to repair a broken bone in his cheek. He could need up to 2 months to recover. Bob Murray said, general manager. The sound is better? Awesome. The general manager of the Anaheim Ducks. Now, Getzlaf being out puts him on a list of injured players for the Anaheim Ducks, along with Kessler, Patrick Eaves, Cam Fowler, Hampus Lindholm, who, by the way, Hampus, I mean, is that not the best first name in hockey ever? And Sami Vatanen. All are missing or have missed significant time with injury. I don't know if we've seen a worse injury bug since the New York Mets. I mean, this is awful. Kessler, Eves, Fowler, Lindholm, Vatanen, and now Getzlaf. Corey Perry cannot carry this team on his own. I think Anaheim is in a whole slew of trouble here, especially if they don't get anybody back anytime soon. They're really going to be paying for things. Anaheim is sitting 15 games into the season at 6-6-3. They're behind Dallas, Chicago, and Calgary in the wild card running, which right now is held by Colorado and San Jose. So a ton of issues for the Anaheim Ducks, as you can see right there. 6-6-3. Calgary, Chicago, Dallas, Colorado, and San Jose. Even if Colorado comes down to reality, especially now that they don't have Duchesne anymore and they're out of it, they still have to leapfrog Calgary, Chicago, and Dallas to find that spot. I mean, Jesus, that is not easy. That is not easy at all. I don't know what you do if you're Anaheim. See, like injuries like this, long-term stuff, that could ruin your whole season. You miss these guys for 10, 15, 20 games. Next thing you know, you're just chasing it for the rest of the year. That sucks for Anaheim. Moving right along on the injury front, Austin Matthews, how about this? Day to day, he is not going to play tonight against the Minnesota Wild. That was announced a little bit earlier by Coach Mike Babcock. He says, quote, sometimes you get bumped or you get hacked and things happen. And that's what Babcock said after the morning skate. I don't know what this Toronto team looks like if they don't have Austin Matthews, but it definitely doesn't look as good. Babcock says Patrick Marleau is going to move to center, and he's going to be in between James Van Riemsdyk and Zach Hyman. There's a little depth there with Toronto, which is nice. You got Van Riemsdyk basically on the third line, so he gets to move up. And Zach Hyman, they seem to be loving right there. Morgan Riley chimed in saying, quote, we have guys that can jump in and play. Our depth is a proud point of this team, so we'll be okay. He's day-to-day Austin Matthews, so there's no telling what it is. But from what I understand coming out of Toronto media, I think it's going to be, you know, a little bit longer than just a game or two. Something with the back, maybe upper body. That's what they were thinking. Of course, National Hockey League policy these days are you don't have to disclose your injuries anymore, so everybody's basically just left guessing. It's Toronto and Minnesota tonight, which brings up another interesting point, because if we go back over to the standings over here, you can see that Minnesota is behind the team that we just said was in trouble, the Anaheim Ducks, which I still have the urge to call them the Anaheim Mighty Ducks. Minnesota is right behind Anaheim in the standings, 13 games, 5-6-2. With just 12 points on the year, not the start that you want for the Minnesota Wild, as they are sorely missing Zach Parise. Again, another back issue that's kept him out for quite some time. I don't know if they get him back before the end of the year, perhaps maybe in the new year, but I think for sure he's back this season. I think it was a 2 to 3 month deal up at the beginning of the season for Zach Parise, but better to get stuff like that taken care of. He had the surgery he needed for his back, and he should be joining the Minnesota Wild before the end of the season. But you look at this Minnesota team, and there's a lot to be concerned about with Minnesota right now. I mean, this was a year where, you know, ownership's coming out and talking about, well, you know, we're going to be in it for the long haul, Stanley Cup or bust this year. See, that's why you never want to say that stuff going into a season. You know, you want to say nice things like Stanley Cup is our goal, but you don't want to say Stanley Cup or bust. You don't want to not leave yourself that little space, that little bit of room, because stuff like that comes back to haunt you big time. Look at this lineup, though. Without Zach Parise, it's a weak lineup. Eric Stahl, who, by the way, was coming in here to be a third-line player, is centering the top line with Chris Stewart and Jason Zucker. And they haven't been all that bad. They really haven't. Look at Jared Spurgeon leading this team in points right now. 2 goals, 8 assists. Eric Stahl's having himself a good year. 5 goals, 4 assists through 13. Chris Stewart lighting the lamp 6 times with 2 helpers. Mikko Koivu, 4 and 4 on the year so far. And Jason Zucker, who finds himself on that top line with Eric Stahl, 3 goals and 5 assists so far. Ryan Suter, 2 and 6. You know, they have good production. It's just that they haven't been able to put a full game together. Devin Dubnyk not looking like his normal self. 3 goals against average, 4 wins, 5 losses on the season, .907 save percentage. So not terrible numbers, but not outstanding numbers. You can tell they're missing Zach Parise and they're missing Nino Niederreiter. Now, is there frustration on this team? Absolutely. We go to Bruce Boudreau. Here's what he had to say the other night, right after the loss to the Boston Bruins. Here's Boudreau. Hello. There we go. All right, my apologies. I don't know why we lost the sound there. Try this one more time. Okay, sorry about that. My apologies. A little bit of a technical glitch there. Basically, he said they stunk, and they did. The Minnesota Wild not coming off of this road trip all that well. Boston should be a team that they should go in there and handle, and they weren't able to. I think they had something like 10 shots in the last 2 periods, which is abysmal and embarrassing, and definitely not the kind of, not the kind of performance you really want to be having there. Minnesota, I think, is in a lot of trouble. And I think they're going to get Nino Niederreiter back. But Zach Parise, like I said, is going to take a little while here. And again, you don't want to get yourself in a position where you've got to play catch up for the remainder of the year. We saw it last year with the New York Islanders after they fired Jack Capuano. They were caught playing a whole bunch of catch up, and they were never really able to make it happen. Do we think we can make this work this time around? Let me see here. I really wanted to get to that clip of Boudreau. Let's try this one more time. I'll try not to blow your ears out once again. All right, let me bring this over here.
Really the epitome of it. What's going on there?
Which one was the third one?
The third one was the one where Riley got caught.
When you saw it, we weren't very competitive. The first 2 periods, that was probably the most embarrassing 2 periods I've been involved with in a lot of teams.
All right, there you go. Probably the most embarrassing. Let me start it from the beginning here. And I'm sorry about these technical difficulties. Again, this is literally our second live show, and we are just getting this started here. So here's Bruce Boudreau.
When you saw it, we weren't very competitive. The first 2 periods, that was probably the most embarrassing 2 periods I've been involved with in a lot of teams.
I mean, that's not clearly a good sign when your coach is talking about most embarrassing couple of periods I've been a part of in all the teams that I've been a part of. Not good for the Minnesota Wild. Not good whatsoever.
The way that you guys defended tonight, the third goal being really the epitome of it. What's going on there?
Which one was the third one?
The third one was the one where Riley got caught, stalled turnover, Nino allayed, Riley overskated the puck.
What's going on is people aren't doing their jobs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know how else to say it. I mean, Nino's not a defenseman, but I mean, should be able to stay in front of somebody. And then when you're coming back, I mean, you got to at least, you can't skate not only by the puck, but there's a guy right there. That's your guy. You got to take him. It's hockey 101. Didn't happen.
We talked earlier this season about how you're not the most physical blue line. Is that becoming an issue here? I mean, you look again on the fourth goal, Brodin not taking the guy out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's other teams that have defenses like this, and they still find ways to eliminate. And so you got to find ways to block out, and that's why we practice it almost all the time. And then the goalie's got to make the save.
Was the move to Alex to change momentum, or is there something more to it?
Well, I just wanted to get him some ice time. You know, he's probably going to play the next game. He hadn't played in a week, and you know, so that the move was to put him in. Maybe it'd spark something with the group, and you know, see if we can't manufacture something. I mean, in today's hockey, I mean, what used to be insurmountable is not insurmountable anymore. And you saw you pressure them, and they were giving the puck up as much as we were. I mean, but if you only get 10 shots in the last two periods, you're not going to win games. It's the same. You got to put 30 to 35 shots at the net. And you can't keep putting 20, 19, 20, 23 and expect to win. You just can't do it.
10 shots in the last two periods. That's just awful. By the way, they were talking about bringing in backup goaltender, which they did in Monday night's game against the Boston Bruins. Alex Stalock, who the plan was for him to play tonight in Toronto. He will not play tonight. His wife is expecting, so he'll be joining her for the delivery of their baby, which is really nice. And Devin Dubnyk is going to head back into the net after he was pulled in the Boston Bruins game. You heard Bruce Boudreau there saying, well, I just wanted to get him a little work before Wednesday night's tilt against Toronto. Obviously, plans change with the Stork coming to visit, but you're looking at a team here that is in a little bit of trouble. You know, Matthew Dumba, we talked about him in a previous hockey talk show, in and out of the lineup, in the doghouse, out of the doghouse. No goals, 6 assists. Jonas Brodin having an okay season. Kyle Quincy, Jared Spurgeon playing really well for them right now. You saw him leading the team in points, and Ryan Suter just, you know, being Ryan Suter. But they need Devin Dubnyk. You know, Minnesota and Dubnyk, they're like the Rangers. They're like the Canadians. They live and die by their goaltending. You know, if their goalie is just like a smidge off, you know, that can cost them a couple of games. They're not as well-rounded and well-built as some of the other teams that don't have to rely so heavily on goaltending. Your Pittsburghs, your Los Angeles Kings, you know, we can go on and name that, you know, Columbus. You know, there's a bunch of teams out there that they can switch their goaltending around. It's not going to really matter all that much. Their goalie has a bad night. Rest of the team can kind of pick them up a little bit. Whereas, you know, some of those other teams with these like superstar goaltenders, your Carey Prices, your, you know, your Henrik Lundqvist, a little bit of a different story. Now, Devin Dubnyk's not in their sort of atmosphere, but certainly he has been outstanding for Minnesota at times and has been what's really carried this team forward. And like I said, minus Niederreiter, minus Parise, you know, you find yourself in a really bad situation, a game under 500 for the National Hockey League with a couple of OT losses. And now you got yourself wondering, can they find a way out of this? Can they generate offense with Eric Staal being their number one center and their number one line being Chris Stewart, Eric Staal, and Jason Zucker? Certainly Stewart's a great player, but is he top 6? And at this point in his career, Eric Staal really not supposed to be. Although I will give him credit, he is playing like a top 6 forward right now. So he does really deserve to be there. But from an organizational depth chart, you know, look, that's bad. That is bad if, you know, Eric Staal is still your number one centerman at this point in his career. Wes Gilbertson here chiming in on Twitter. How about this one for the Calgary Flames fans? Sam Bennett has now logged 200 minutes of ice time this season without collecting a point. He's played 47 minutes more than any other NHL forward with zeros on the stat sheet. Zeros. How on earth do you go 200 minutes in the National Hockey League, not with an assist at all. How does that even happen? By accident, a secondary assist, something, nothing in 200 minutes. Jeez. That third line for Calgary not looking great. I think Jaromir Jagr should be back really soon. Let's see what he does for the Calgary Flames. I don't even know where the Calgary Flames are as far as the standings go. NHL.com is where we're going for the standings right here. And we take a look at the West. And oh, that's right, Calgary 8-7. They're just in front of Anaheim. So they're doing all right. Johnny Hockey clearly working out well for them. They've got good. I like their depth all around. I know Hamonic is on IR, but he was a good acquisition for them. And pulling in Mike Smith. Mike Smith's going to do well for them. I think Calgary is going to challenge hardcore for a playoff spot this season. But you look at, you know, honestly, Vancouver and Vegas are disrupting things in the West because they're not supposed to be there right now in a playoff spot. And they're sitting at 2 and 3 in the Pacific Division. San Jose and Colorado. Colorado, another one sitting in the wild card spot, being disruptive. Nobody thought they were going to be there. I think they're going to fall a little bit farther now that they don't have Matt Duchene. Speaking of falling farther, let's get into the New York Islanders. We go over to SNY.com for a great piece by their team over there. That's sort of the official or unofficial blog of the New York Islanders, SNY.TV. That was the, you know, original Islanders Point Blank podcast. And Brian Ernie has a great piece on Joshua Ho-Sang on whether or not he should be in the Islanders lineup tonight. Big news for the Islanders. Nikolai Kulemin is being placed on injured reserve. Alan Quine is coming off of injured reserve. He's done a conditioning stint down in Bridgeport. We thought there was going to be a call-up for the Islanders today. There wasn't. So they're bringing Quine into the mix. And as we take a look at the forward core here for the New York Islanders, so we bring up dailyfaceoff.com. Great top line reunited from last season. Tavares, Andersley, and Josh Bailey. Jordan Eberle, who I thought was going to stick with Tavares and really be the winger that he's needed for a long time, has sort of fallen out of that role a little bit. So has Andrew Ladd, who they thought was going to be the answer to that question of who's going to be on Tavares' wing. Andersley has solidified himself there, 34 goals last season. He's off to a great start again this season. And Josh Bailey finds himself back up on that top line, who traditionally I would say doesn't deserve to be there and is benefiting from a John Tavares. This season, however, he is contributing so far. So I got to give credit where credit is due for Josh Bailey. I've been a big critic of his in the past, but he is working right now. He is moving the puck very well. I still wish he'd carry the puck a little bit more than he does. But at least he's not out there being a minus. He's really helping. Matthew Barzal has been downright brilliant for them, and it's a good second line there. I noticed a little bit of chemistry between Barzal and Eberle last game, which was really great to see. So hopefully Andrew Ladd can help contribute to that line as well. It's a solid third line there with Nelson, Beauvillier, and Chimera. A lot of speed on that third line. And Kulemin is on this lineup here, but of course he'll be out. Alan Quine expected to go in his place. Casey Zizekas, Cal Clutterbuck. But we go back to the SNY blog here, and Brian writes in here that Ho-Sang has been in the AHL for 2 weeks. A roster spot opens up today. Is it time to bring him back? Kulemin out, Alan Quine on a conditioning stint. Ho-Sang was sent to Bridgeport October 25th, where he has averaged a point per game, 2 goals, 4 assists in 6 contests. He posted 4 points, all assists in his 6 games with the Islanders. So 4 points in 6 games with the Islanders, a point a game down in Bridgeport. This is a hot player. Why is this guy not in your lineup? I don't understand. Is the concern here because he takes longer shifts? He'll blow the occasional defensive assignment. I mean, it's the growing pains of dealing with a young player. Bench him. I'd rather him in the lineup than Alan Quine. I don't want to take anything away from Alan Quine. He's a great third, fourth line player, but you have a chance to, as you just saw there with Brock Nelson, now that Barzal, Eberle, and Ladd have solidified themselves as a great second line, a great second option, that's going to open up more ice time for Tavares, by the way, because now Tavares will take the top pairing. The second line is going to get the second pairing, or vice versa. It's just going to open up more time for Tavares' line, having a good deep threat second line. Having a third threatening line, could you imagine how much more time that opens up for everybody? Plus, with the fourth line that the Islanders have, Cizikas and Cal Clutterbuck, they're as good as anybody. They're as good as anybody. Since they lost Matt Martin, it doesn't even matter who you put on their wing, whether it's Alan Quine or Jason Chimera or, Nikolai Kulemin. I don't even care. It doesn't matter. As long as it's Cizikas and Clutterbuck, it's a great fourth line. Those guys skate really hard. They forecheck really good. They penalty kill. They're everything you want in a fourth liner. But Brian brings up a good point here, and I echo the sentiment. Why is Joshua Ho-Sang in the minors? He's got a point per game with the Bridgeport Sound Tigers. What is he learning down there that he can't learn and put to use in action here? What? Because he doesn't listen? Because he takes a little bit longer on some shifts? The guy carries the puck and he doesn't cough it up, which is what Matthew Barzal does. By the way, too, Edmonton just beat the Islanders in overtime. I don't hear a lot of people talking about this, but you hear about the incredible speed of a Connor McDavid, and I'm not taking anything away from Connor McDavid. The guy, he's got the speed. He does have that incredible speed. I'm not going to, of course, I am not going to, take anything away from Connor McDavid, and kept his wheels going the entire way. He didn't lose a step on Connor McDavid. He really didn't. I was surprised. And I know how fast Nick Leddy is. I was still surprised to see that one. Still surprised. Anyway, I just wanted to point that out. But the point is this. You lost to an Edmonton team who the Islanders should have beat. Edmonton was hurt, looking for answers, trying to figure it out. It was an even contest. It should be a blowout for the New York Islanders. Cam Talbot was, has been a little shaky. Greiss let in a soft one. Okay, you got a couple things to think about there. But still, you have the chance to be a real offensive power in the East. Adding Joshua Ho-Sang with a Brock Nelson and a Jason Chimera or Beauvillier or however that combination winds up being, you got a serious threat on your hands. I don't want to criticize him too early, 15 some odd games into the season, but my man is making a mistake. This is the same mistake that Jack Capuano made. He went with veterans too much of the time. You're wasting Joshua Ho-Sang's time. I know what you're thinking. Patience, give it time. It's not going to hurt Joshua Ho-Sang. It's not, but I think it's going to hurt the Islanders. I don't think it's going to hurt Joshua Ho-Sang's development. I don't think it's going to hurt his ego. I think the kid is a superstar. I don't think that kind of a deal. I don't think he gets hurt. I don't think he gets hurt feelings. I think he's a superstar. I think he's a rock. But I think that, he's got to play for the Islanders' sake, not his. For that third line threat, not his. He should be in the lineup. He should be playing. I don't want to get into a case where we're talking about this for far too long. By the way, when Ho-Sang went down, everybody's like, don't worry, kid, you'll be back up soon. It's been 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks. And now you have an injury, and now you're going on a road trip, and you don't have an extra forward. Now, Doug Waite was answering some questions for the media today, and he said, well, we have Thomas Hickey to play forward if we need. It's not a bad thing to say if you're in the middle of a game and you got to move Hickey around. If you have an injury right before the game, but you're carrying 23 players most of the time, why the hell not would you have an extra forward? Because you're afraid that Joshua Ho-Sang's not going to play? Then play him. And keep Alan Quine on the bench where he belongs. Or up in the press box, I should say. I love Jason Chimera. I'm not one of these guys that's like, Jason Chimera should be scratched. No, I think Jason Chimera should be in the lineup. But if you're carrying around an extra forward and it's Joshua Hosang and he's going 2, 3, 4 games without playing, if you want to sit Chimera for a game to rest him, to get Hosang a game, then I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I'm not okay with Hosang taking Chimera's place permanently in the lineup because I think you need Chimera. He's speed, he's confidence, he's got a lot of great things, he's got the experience, he's got all the stuff you love. But you can let him sit for a game or two if you really had to. I just don't know why the Islanders are going about this way. I think it's a mistake. Like I've said before, starts are everything. And the Islanders are having a good start, and they're about to blow it if they continue with this mantra of veterans who listen over younger guys who maybe take a little bit longer to come around and have a lot more to learn. Got to win hockey games. You've got to win hockey games. You don't have an easy road trip coming up. They're in Dallas, Friday? Islanders are, they lost last night in overtime, which, by the way, and I'm not saying Hosang would have made them win. They did get a point last night. You could have flat out won that game. You could have flat out won that game. They're in Dallas on Friday, St. Louis Saturday, so you're on the road in a back-to-back situation. Then they're off a bunch of games, back home against Carolina on Thursday, and then they have Tampa Bay next Saturday. You have 3 out of your 4 teams that are downright outstanding. The exception of Carolina, of course. Dallas is playing some good hockey right now at 8-7. St. Louis is 12-3. Tampa Bay is 11-2. And you're going to roll into a game with Alan Quine on your third line talking about we can use Thomas Hickey if we need to? Dude, this is the kind of stuff that comes back to bite you in the ass later on in the season. When you're struggling for points and you're fighting for it and you just need to get on a run. We did some good things out there. Look back at this time and how many points you coughed up. You have 2 games against Carolina in this stretch as well. Because after they played Tampa Bay, they played Carolina again. Carolina's 5-5. They're not horrible. They have a -3 goal differential. So they're losing games, but they're hard to play against. And they're 4-4-2 in their last 10. So they're nothing to shake a stick at. You better be up for those games. You got to win both those games. You've got to put your best foot forward. Take a look at all the teams. Toronto is 4-6 in their last 10 games. You know where they are in the standings? Second place, because they got off to a hell of a good start. Put those points in the banks, boys. Put those points in the bank. They'll be there for you later on in the season when you need them. Teams that start good and maintain a halfway decent record for the rest of the way make the playoffs. There's that stat about American Thanksgiving. Something like 85% of the teams that are in the playoffs by Thanksgiving are in the playoffs by the end of the year. You don't want to be one of the exceptions to the rule. You don't want to plummet. God forbid John Tavares goes down, or Eberle, or Halak, or Grice, or one of these guys. Now you're in a whole bunch of new trouble. Bank those points now. To me, the Islanders are like a young teenager with a credit card. I don't need to save money and then buy stuff and then pay it off with my credit card. I'll just buy all this stuff now and I'll save up later on and I'll pay it off as I go. That's how people get into trouble. Bank those points now while you can. I don't know what the Islanders are thinking of. This is the same mistake that Jack Capuano made, and they refused to adjust. And now I see Doug Weight dipping his toe into the same exact pool. It's a mistake not to have Joshua Hosang on this team. He's going to help this team win. He's going to help this team score. And we're sitting here talking about, Alan Quine and maybe Thomas Hickey. Now, Islanders Nation lost their minds on Twitter talking about why Alan Quine, why Thomas Hickey? Are you serious? Blah, blah, blah. Doug Weight is dead serious. Dead serious. But what kind of message are you trying to send to Joshua Hosang? That you're the boss? He knows you're the boss. Take away his ice time during the game. Lay him out in front of his teammates. Sit him for 2 periods in a game. And then the next day in practice say, it would have been nice if we could have went to you, Josh, if you were listening to your assignment, if you were coming off the ice when you were supposed to. Embarrass him in front of his teammates. Put it on him and his teammates. Don't make it a thing of the organization or management against him. Don't do it like that. Put it on him with his teammates. We need you to be there in the game. We need you to listen. If you don't listen, you're not going to play. If you don't play, we have to play every game with 11 forwards without you. And now you're just taken away from everybody else. That's what he's got to do. Doug Weight should know that. Doug Weight should know that that was one of the big mistakes of Jack Capuano's career. Every coach does the same thing. It's just the time for the Islanders. They've been sitting on all these young kids. Barzal is so far ahead of his development, it's not even funny. You've got lightning in a bottle. Know when to seize the moment. Don't let it get past you. I think that's going to wrap this up for the Hockey Talk Show. Apologies sincerely for some of the bad audio that we had earlier on in the show, and then the issue we had with the sound clip. We are literally just, we are just putting this all together. Again, if you don't know, I do a radio show here in Long Island, New York, and thought this would be a fun thing to do because essentially I was just flat out frustrated that when hockey news was happening, I had nowhere to go to talk to other hockey fans. Message boards are nice and podcasts are great. There's certainly a ton of great ones out of there. This show is going to be turned into a podcast, so I'm not dumping on podcasts, but that ability to have some breaking news, me being able to put this show on and you being able to call that number and have your say is the whole entire point. Now, I've been on the radio station that I've been on for close to 10 years now. And I built an audience over there, and it took me quite a bit of time. We've built this audience pretty fast. So I know we're going to take a little bit more time. It's going faster than I thought, but I know there's going to be quite a bit more time till we get to that point where we know we got some great callers all around. So I'm being patient. I hope you will be too. And I hope you're not afraid to call in or tweet in or send us a message. You can find out how to contact us at hockeytalkshow.com. That's our website. That's hockeytalkshow.com. Everything you can find there is going to be a link to everything else. Our YouTube, our Facebook, our other social media channels, and of course the podcast links, because I know a lot of you guys like to listen to this while you do other things, or at the gym or driving home or wherever you are. I appreciate you consuming our material no matter what. It's incredibly kind, some of the nice words that are coming in early on here. Thanks to my wife for monitoring the audio for us here and getting us out of trouble a little bit early on in the program. And I look forward to building this thing together. So I will see you guys on the next shift. Thanks for